Welcome to the Going North podcast, where you will be informed, encouraged, and empowered to embrace your dreams and advance in life through authorship. I'm your host, best-selling author of the book Stay the Course, and certified leadership trainer, Dom Brightman. Be sure to check out the goods and services from every guest, as well as the host himself, yours truly. Now let the fun begin. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, GMP the Glorious, aka GNP the Great, we got another super special, awesome author for Women's History Month 2021, baby, where the millennium gets to drink and turn 21 this year. And my goodness, I got a returning guest in the building, baby. Returning guest, a super special, awesome human, baby. That's right, super special, awesome human. One of my favorite guests from 2021, a personal favorites, because she was so freaking entertaining and she dealt with all my wonderful BS and trapdoors, and she even survived the legendary tree joke that sometimes guests receive out of randomness that they open. But hey, it's all good. So let's give it up for this super special, awesome human who has racked up so many more awards since the last time she's been on the show, and has written, oh my gosh, she's actually published 77 books now. Like last time, I think it was like 66 when we chatted. So peak performance ghostwriting and writing is still on the table and soaring to the moon and all the way to Pluto, baby. So let's give it up for one of my favorite meows on the planet, Kat Hutson. How you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing great, Dom. Thank you for that fantastic introduction. That was superb. I'm happy to be back again. This is great. Thank you.
That's right, Black at it again. Yes, indeed.
Well, one of us is. I'll meet you in the middle, man. I will meet you in the middle every time.
Well, that's the funny thing about this Zoom thing. It is black in the middle, that little line. So you are meeting me at the middle.
Hey, you're welcome.
Yes, indeed. Oh. I just realized there's Malcolm in the middle, so does that make him the middleman if he's in the middle?
It would have to be. It would have to be.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. The freaking middle. That's right. It's like peanut butter and jelly. It's in the middle. Yeah,
nobody ever wants to sit in the middle.
Oh no, because you're screwed if there's a fire escape. if you're not agile, it's game over.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. I was thinking more of like airplanes and long family road trips. The middle is not the best place to be.
That's right. Longer than all the wiener dogs, probably.
Okay.
Well, what's longer than wiener dogs is your accomplishments that keep on growing like a positive, like a tree giving positive shade to folks in the summer. So my goodness, you've accomplished so much since the last time we chat. A new fabulous book of your own, The Witching Vault, and this is part one of a series. Racked up a couple extra awards, been getting on wonderful shows and sharing some of the backstory behind the writer herself. So my goodness, how have you been with all of this positive momentum?
I've been totally thrilled with it. Just to start, I did not expect The Witching Vault to kind of explode as much as it had, as you know, I can say it continues to, most likely. But it was really well received, and I was really excited about it. I haven't done anything of my own in urban fantasy before this book. I've ghostwritten a lot of urban fantasy, which is why I decided to bring this into my own realm of books under my name and what I'm publishing. And I figured, hey, if I seem to be doing it successfully under other people's names, let's see if I can do it under mine as well. And it worked. So that's been going really well. And the whole series is a 5-book series. So this will be popping out really quickly, one right after the other. And this is March now. There's at least 3 of them out, 4.
So how do you plan those? at ahead of time, like when you start writing, you say, you know what, this is gonna be like a 5 book series. It's gonna be a 10 book series. Does it start off in your mind that way, or do you just get in the habit of writing so many words, so much content that it's like I have to expand this?
Yeah, that's a good question. This is actually the first time that I've ever planned to write a series with a specific number of books. Every other time, all my other series started out as like, I'm trying to write one book. And then it just never continued that way. I'd finish one and say, oh my gosh, this is an entire series. I have to keep going. Or I would reach the end and go, wow, the story is not done, but I am done with this book. I have to keep going. Or, one book was a monster and I had to figure out how to break it up and make it smaller. This is the first for me because I'm actually planning everything in a lot more detail. I still don't write detailed outlines. I can't do those. They bore me to tears. But I have an overall plan for the series and stories for each book in the series. And so far, that's working out really well and it helps me write them a lot more quickly, which is something I'm also doing for the first time for myself. So it's a good leap forward.
There we go. Almost like a leap year, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Just giving me one extra day and I'll reinvent the wheel for myself.
That's
Yeah.
right. The smoke will be a corn cob.
Hmm. Okay. I'd pick something a little less rural, probably, but
But hey, it's all good. And it's really interesting that you decided to take that route and really make it 5 books and heck, even planning it out since, well, that's really getting out of your comfort zone. And it seems like that's really been the theme for you for these past few months is getting out of your comfort zone and really stretching and growing and getting yourself out there. So, what's probably helped you to stay confident and motivated during these times of momentum for you?
ooh, that is a fantastic question. Literally, the first thing that comes to mind is my husband. The first thing. He's a thing that just helps me. No, he's actually been like the biggest support for me during all of this. So I can't remember when the last time was that I was on your show, but I think it was relatively around the same time that my husband decided he wanted to stop working and be a stay-at-home dad for a while. So that happened in October of 2019. And so through this whole, shift of the world and the shift of my own um, business and career and where I'm headed, he's been really incredibly available. So having someone around who's just he always has my back and he's always helping me. He coaches me through what I feel are like some of the difficult business decisions or confrontations, what have you. um, and that's been amazing. And then, I mean, I've been really super fortunate in the fact that my normal has not changed very much over the last year. So I think probably keeping me the most stable through these changes that I'm going through and all the stepping out of my comfort zones and continuing to challenge myself is a constant reminder that I need to step back and take a break because I will go and go and go and go and go forever and then I will crash and then it's horrible. And I'm really trying hard not to do that anymore. So yeah, those things. My husband being able to spend more time with my family, finding that balance between self-care and relaxing and, reading some books, playing some video games, doing funny, hilarious stuff with my kid who's 4. So, that's an endless wealth of ideas. And I think most of all, I just recognize that I thrive the most outside of my comfort zone, which maybe has even become my comfort zone now. And then if that's the case, I don't know what to do with myself.
That's right. You already know what to do with yourself is grow even more.
That's right. And that's always always where to go. If I ever end up thinking that I have no more room for growth, I will know that I have failed and started over at the beginning all over again. So I hope I never reach that place.
Oh yeah, because you've been through a lot. You've been through a lot, and no one wants to go that far back into the beginning.
Oh no, thank you. I made it out for a reason. One of those was to not go back. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's kind of nature's cocaine without the cocaine, without the nature's part of it. It's like don't want to go back there. It's evil. It's evil.
Yeah, there's nothing good about it except for the fact that it led me to where I am right now. And I can say that 100%. All the challenges, all the places, all the experiences and hardships, I wouldn't have ended up here without them. There's that.
That's what I'm talking about right there. So you heard that right, folks. So solid advice. You need folks on your team. You got to choose the right partner, the right spouse to really support you, to support your dreams and your goals while you're supporting the family. You got to have the right teammates so that way y'all can win together. And that can even, oh yeah, definitely win together, especially with the 4-year-old too, keeping
Oh
you
yeah.
keeping you up in more ways than one, I imagine.
Yep. And honest and humble. That's what 4-year-olds are for.
Yeah, a couple years she'll be a life coach. Those kids are the best life coaches. No filters.
No, yeah, and everything is so simple when you hear it just told to you from a child. You're like, oh yeah, oh that makes sense. Why can't I just do that? I was having to tell my daughter the other day to not interrupt me when I'm trying to speak to her because it makes me feel like she's not listening. And she took it all in. She looked right up at me and she goes, "Oh, carry on, Mom." And I carried on because she was so intensely eloquent about it, and then I just felt like, oh, she's been listening this whole time and she's just choosing to interrupt me. So that's great. 4-year-olds are fantastic. I'm very grateful for mine.
Does she sip tea before or after the carry on line?
It was after, and I'm pretty sure it was a glass of milk. So she had the whole thing down. We don't even say that. Like, we don't tell each other, carry on. Like, that's it. I don't know where she got that from. But hey, got the point across perfectly.
It's like, where'd you learn that? It's like, Daddy must be watching British TV again.
Yeah, and watching it with her, and that's fine.
Yes, indeed. It's fine indeed. Definitely fine indeed. So, my goodness, with all this wonderful growth and 77 books, with a few of them being your own and a lot of them being others and more to come, what'd you say has probably been outside of writing? What's the one or two major skills you've polished over these past few months?
Ooh, skills. Hmm. If we can consider meditating being a skill, I would definitely put that in there. That is something that I have, like I said, working a lot on that balance between self-care and overworking myself. I now split my day up in sections and meditate in between so that I'm not driving myself crazy. So that's been one skill, the first thing that came to mind. And actually, I would say the biggest thing is that, by necessity, as I've been growing and challenging myself and moving on to bigger and better things, the biggest, most important sort of like life and career changing skill, because it definitely is a skill, is being able to like stand up for what I know that I need and want and deserve with my business and where I'm headed, and with various business relationships, and negotiating and working out where to go from here, up and forward. That's been huge. That's actually been probably one of the biggest hurdles I have been working on over the last 12 months. Absolutely. And I don't know. I haven't heard many people talk about that, so I was always like, I'm just bad at it. But I think it's definitely an acquired skill. I put a lot of work into it, and like looked at that way, it's a lot easier for me to approach.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. 'Cause usually like to see how far guests have grown since it's their second appearance on the show, and you've been kicking lots of arse lately. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm sure she's been polishing some metaphorical shoes somewhere, and meditation
Yeah,
seems to be the shoe of choice.
yeah, yeah. It's one shoe. I like that. I've been polishing shoes. I don't have any shoes that need polishing. I'll just throw that in there for you. Literally. That's
Or
all.
it's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with having shoes that don't need polish. Like that's less work actually.
Yes, it is. It is. I'm all
Listen.
about less work. They've been here talking about all the things that I'm doing. I'm all about less work. Yeah.
That's right. Less work, more meditation, more gaining fun, and advancing further than ever thought possible. Yes,
Right.
indeed. Yes, indeed. So, speaking of this magical writing that you're doing, my goodness, like the first chapter of The Witching Vault that became a bestseller the day it launched in December, which was one heck of a Christmas gift to share with others, as well as all of your other books and all the other books to come, is the fact that's a really taking a different route, taking a more comedic approach. So,
Mm.
do you think the comedic approach, in addition to you trying it out for yourself under your name, since you've wrote so many of those type of books for other people, was the humor aspect something that you wanted to add because of all of 2020's nonsense, or was it just something that was always on your to-do list?
Ah, I think neither. I never expected urban fantasy to be something in my stable of books that I write and share with my readers. And then I realized that I was actually pretty good at it. After I've been ghostwriting urban fantasy for 2 years, so it's like I know that it's pretty consistently well received. And there's always a little bit of humor in there. There are still parts of the Accessory to Magic series that has that really intense darkness that I like and that is pretty thematic within all my books. But the humor was just something that popped out and developed all on its own. I mean, looking at it from like a darker perspective, this is a main character who has been institutionalized and released back out into society and is trying to just figure out how to survive. And she's pretty much taking any opportunity that comes her way because she doesn't have a choice. And then on the other side of it, that's less dark and actually fairly comedic, is that she ends up being swindled into ownership of a sentient bank who wants her there and doesn't want her there and won't tell her what's happening and has a serious attitude problem. It's absurd. I mean, really, like the bank is a character. The entire building is a character, and it's just you haven't gotten that far yet. Then if you haven't read past the first chapter, but you'll love it. It's just hilarious and it's funny, and yeah, I think there is a lot to be said for adding that absurd and hilarity in with the darkness and with the struggles. And I think that urban fantasy is especially suited to that, just because it is a little bit of the absurd, like our current world as we know it, with some secret, hidden, magical world aspects to it. Um, and I've realized that I'm fairly skilled at writing comedy as well. So like that has been really fun, and it just allows it to flow easier. And I also started this series with the intention of opening it up and making it more appealing to a wider range of readers who may not enjoy all the darkness that my other work has to offer and who want something else. So I still like bringing themes and concepts and ideas, which I had no idea would still inject themselves into the Accessory to Magic series. But apparently it's ingrained in me and I cannot separate it out of my work. So it's got a little bit of everything, but I really, really have been enjoying writing. Yeah, it is dark urban fantasy, and it's also comedy and action adventure and thriller and like mystery, and it's everything.
There we go. The good part of everything. Do you think there are maybe other genres you think you might explore in the near future?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. I can only plan one series at a time, man. I'm just like, I can't go past that. There's been some thoughts of dabbling with steampunk, but I know that sort of there's a hardcore base of steampunk fans who may not agree with my interpretation of the genre, so I don't know. But no, I really enjoy urban fantasy, and then there's always grimdark and epic fantasy and that dystopian sci-fi, and so far those seem to be like good places I like to stay. We'll see what happens next. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good, especially when it comes to fiction work, because with a lot of folks who write fantasy books, like in different genres of fiction, like a lot of folks are pantsers. They don't have just straight outlines. They let the characters dictate the story and usually just go with it, as opposed to
Yep.
nonfiction, where you can write an outline and be done in a weekend, as opposed to a
Yeah.
fiction book. That's going to take a lot more of a different process to that. So it I'm I can't really say I'm surprised because I mean, yeah, you can only focus on a certain thing at a time to really bring the best out of it, like one
Yeah.
series.
Yeah. And I only write one of my own things at a time. I mean, I'm always working on 4 different projects at any given time, but only one of them is mine. So, but it is little bit of a different thought process. And but I have been able to bring in everything that I've learned over the last 2 years, and the last year especially, and sort of mold it all together and turn it into something that has my flavor and my spin on it, and definitely my sense of humor, which I'm not sure if that's come out ever before in my writing. So that's really exciting. It gets kind of, it's not quite slapstick, but there are some things in there that are just like, oh well, okay, and we're moving forward. Like it's fine, like the worst possible awkward things to say in the middle of a fight. Like, why not? That's fun.
That's right. It's like you put a banana in the magical tailpipe, and there's an actual tail on the banana.
That's exactly what it's like, Dom. Like you pinned the tail on the banana with that one.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh.
Pinned it down Zoom style. That's what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Yes.
The zoom tail.
Ah, yeah, the Zoom tail indeed. Who needs zombie tails? It's about the Zoom tails. That's right.
Right.
That's right. The seance has gone wrong. They're virtual now.
Oh no. The whole world is going to fall apart now. That's what happened. We just killed everyone.
Exactly. It's like, darn it, we should have just let our brooms just fall on the floor. We should have never let them just stand up by themselves.
Take some action, man. How about some responsibility? Come on. All right.
Oh my goodness. Oh, speaking of wonderful responsibility, my goodness, been kicking lots of R's, got these wonderful books out, more to come, and managing all these wonderful projects at a time. What would, if you were to possibly, well, it's kind of early, but then again, it's kind of not early since it ain't your first Cat Hudson project for Cat Hudson, is the fact, what would you say would be, if you were to, if this was basically like your first book over again, what would you do different compared to like your first book? Because this is book number 9 for yourself, right?
This is, yeah, the Witching Vault is number 8.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What would I do? Honestly, releasing the Witching Vault in the way that I did it, I wish that I had had all the knowledge and experience and the team that I have now, the professionals, service providers, and support network and everything that I have in my corner. I wish I had that for my very first release. It would have been, all of my books would have been completely different. Not that I'm saying I wish my books were different. I love them the way they are, and they all have such different styles. But this is actually the first time that I have ever launched a book and started a new series and said, wow, everything was perfect. So, uh, that answer is backwards to what your question was asking. But I learned so many things this time around. The importance of having an incredible cover that captures the genre right off the bat and leaps off the page, and how to name a series according to the genre, and how to name the titles of every book in a series according to the genre, and how to write a book that no one can put down, and not just the very niche people who enjoy what I've been writing. This is for everybody. And what to invest in what and when around the launch date. And there was a lot of planning that went into this series. Well, it's for about a year, honestly, and writing that first book and nailing down the structure and the process and how I was going to do this all differently, and getting way more advanced readers for this book than I've had for any of my other books beforehand, and running ads and marketing and full on just injecting all the resources I had into this. And now writing all the other books in this series is just so much easier and faster. And doing these a certain way, it's almost like I did all the work for the entire series in the first book. Everything else after that, it just piggybacks. It's blowing my mind. I've never seen it work this way. So having this new knowledge is I've done everything right. And now the next time I do this, not to say that there's a wrong way, but I did everything correctly according to the expectation that I had for this new series. And then everything else I do from here on out, I'm just going to do it again and again, bigger and better, and hope it works. Adjust accordingly.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's right. Nickelback and piggyback, baby. That's what I'm talking about, indeed.
I'm really glad we did video this time. I almost spit my drink all over my computer. No, we can leave Nickelback out of it.
But yes, indeed. You can always really ask these type of questions for the second go around because it's really interesting to know. It's all right, now I got some weight now. I got some metaphorical weight now. I got some experience. Don't have the gray hair, metaphorically speaking, yet. Don't want to rush that. I got some experience. Yeah, I'm in this place now. I know what to do, what not to do, what to invest in, how much to invest in, how much not to invest in, possibly. Right. And just really making those right decisions, and really definitely covers leaping off the page. It's so true. It's I wish they would probably drop that old cliche of don't judge a book by its cover, because that's what we all do. If I'm going I'm looking at the spine label and the title and everything. If I'm in a day job at the library or at a Barnes and Noble or whatever, I'm gonna look at the cover and the title. It's
of course. Yeah. And if something just doesn't look good, it's ugh. It just doesn't look good, and that's unfortunately it's just the way that it is, and there are plenty of books out there that have fantastic covers and their insides do not match either. And I think, well, I don't know, maybe those books do a little bit better, but I would like to think not by much, or at least in the series. I know that if I read something that looked amazing but wasn't, I probably won't pick that author up again. So, but thank you for complimenting my cover. That's what that was about. We'll go back to that. Yeah, I found the cover designer for this series that I think I'm going to be using him for all of my covers forever until he decides that he's sick of me and is done designing covers. Like, he's stuck with me. He's incredibly talented.
There we go. I guess he's found his cover girl. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Well, depends on how you're defining that, Dom, but yeah, okay.
That's right. This girl's looking for covers. I'm going to give her the best ones ever, baby. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The best ones I could create. Indeed. Yes, indeed. So speaking of investing, what do you think where do you think authors skip on the most that they should probably put more investment dollars behind? You don't have to give specific amounts because you don't have to get all detailed, but where do you think authors should focus their investment on in terms of their book projects?
Yeah. I would say that like the easiest in the long run and the I guess least painful way to invest with, because sometimes it can be painful. I mean, I have a couple of books that have they've had 4 covers until I found the right one that actually like reflected its ability to sell like the way that it should have, and so it's just constantly a learning process. But I think the best investment for authors would be a tie between like really, really, really making sure that your story idea, the concept, the writing, the unput downableness, if you will, and nailing your genre, nailing your character arcs, nailing the plot so that there aren't any plot holes, and like this, just making sure that the storytelling itself is solid. Like that is a huge investment, and it can be a really big investment in time and sometimes monetarily if you're taking classes or finding mostly classes diving into, or even with hiring editors or with hiring someone to like a beta reader, but more like in-depth analysis of the way the story's going. And because really, like, if you have that down, the biggest changes you would ever have to make after that are potentially a cover if the cover's not good enough, potentially the blurb, the summary on the sales page if that isn't quite written up to par, and then potentially investing in whatever other marketing comes after that. But if you don't have a solid product, it's not going to sell. That's just how that works. And I would tie that with investing in a mentor, because I have also really integrated the importance of having a mentor in my own career and just in life, right? So find someone who is doing what you want to do, whose life looks the way you want your life to look. Not necessarily completely, that would be weird, but just someone, I don't want to be someone else. Like, just, I'm not advocating for that. Let's be perfectly clear. But, to find someone who, like, aspects of their life contain things that you aspire to and that you want to achieve yourself. And then you get to learn from them and figure out how they got to where you want to be, and take their advice and listen to them and listen to professionals. And like, I will be the first person to admit that, like, yes, I write a lot and I understand the mechanics of writing very well, and I still have much to learn, and I am not an expert in all the other aspects of publishing. Like, I need help. And so even, as indie authors, that's a huge thing. I actually had to explain what an indie author was, what indie meant to someone the other day. And so I was saying that, yeah, indie author and self-published author are commonly used. They're traded off and commonly interchanged to mean the same thing. And not that there's anything inherently bad with self-published, but I do prefer the term indie author, independent author, or independent publisher. I am both, either or. But I prefer that term a lot more because self-published carries with it that connotation of doing everything yourself. Everything. I do not do everything myself. Just to be clear, like I have a team. I am independent. I am not traditionally represented. I am an independent author and an independent publisher, but I do not publish these books by myself. I have a cover designer, I have an editor, I have a marketing team and virtual assistants and people who are working behind the scenes to keep my business running for me so I can write. So it's indie author. So that's another, another huge thing to invest in is a team. If you can find your superpower and the thing that you are really good at and excel at, that you can do the best and the fastest and the most consistent, find other people to do everything else for you. And then that team just becomes unstoppable at that point. I've really learned a lot about that this last year too.
Yeah, superpowers a day, baby. That's what I'm talking about. So besides humor and writing, what would your superpower be?
I mean, like literally writing is my superpower, so that's a hard question. But superpower. Flying or invisibility. Or like creating things from nothing, like tangible, like food or a new pair of boots.
Wait, you make your own shoes too?
Well, not yet. Find me the superpower to do that, and I will make my own shoes too.
Oh,
No, I
okay.
don't.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, it's like, oh man, a new dimension, baby. That's right. The Cat Hutson shoes. That's right.
Oh gosh. It'd be like different sizes, different shapes, different heights. Like you don't want shoes from me.
I mean, ain't nothing wrong with different heights. The cowboy/cowgirl boys could have like little cats on the side as designs, and like little huts on some of the other shoes for the Hut part of the Hudson last name.
Yeah. Hut and the sun right over, like shining down its rays.
That's
Oh,
right.
that's gonna be my new. I'm making a family crest now. Hut and a sun, and we're like, it'll be awful.
And maybe a kitty face could be the sun.
Cute. That's really cute. Yeah. I'll think about it.
That's right. The fantasy world expands into a new dimension. That's right.
That is a dimension no one will be lining up to go to. That is the set aside dimension. That's like, the crumbs at the bottom of the bag.
Hey, with enough crumbs, you can make a ball somehow, right?
Yeah, if you try really, really, really hard.
That's right. Make a whole hill out of those breadcrumbs. That's right. It may not be a big hill. It may not be king of the hill, but it'll be a nice little mini hill. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Like maybe even a molehill.
Maybe. I would say anthill first, perhaps.
There we
and they
go.
would eat it all, and then, you're starting over.
There we go. Anthill. Made out of antes. That's right.
Oh.
Yeah, antibodies or aunties. A hill of aunties.
Well,
Pronounced antes.
Yeah, I heard you say antes and antibodies, and I was like, ooh, somebody's got a lot of aunties, like, who are not in good shape. I'm sorry. So, that's what I was thinking. We're going dark. There's some dark stuff hidden within the lighthearted joking. I like it.
That's right. So the best things are hidden in dark places. That's right.
That is so true.
Like a flashlight when all the lights are off.
Still useful if you can find it.
That's right. Especially a corn cob shaped flashlight.
Literally no reason to draw this together other than the fact that they're similarly shaped.
Yeah. I like to pull random corn cobs out of the sky.
I have noticed that I like it. It's like I would have no use for corn cobs myself, but I'm glad that you can put them to good use.
Oh, don't worry, you've been using them more than you'd believe. That's right.
Okay.
Especially if you're a colonel in the corny joke kingdom.
Ah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, before I go too far off the deep end, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive for the second time around. And that is if you were
Mm.
giving, oh, wow, this will be interesting for you. If you were to give the final speech of your life and all 7 billion people on the planet are watching you for a good 90 minutes and you're giving the keynote speech of your life and you're giving this inspirational message, what would the message be and what would it entail? And they all had to pay attention to you for 90 minutes. And this speech will be played for generations to come. What would be the main message of that keynote speech?
Wow. I'm not sure if I could make a speech for 90 minutes about anything, but I would say that the main message, that is like a lot of pressure. All the people in the entire world, the entire planet listening to that, it would be don't let anyone else tell you who to be or how to be or what to do or what to say or think, because no one else has any clue who you really are and what you really need except for yourself. 90 minutes worth of variations on that. Yeah, that's an interesting. I'm trying to pull out more things about that, but I think, yeah, and finding the answer to that, I think about like what are some of the most important things I want my kid to know. That don't try to be anyone else. Don't try to walk and talk and move and think and live like anyone else but yourself, because that road only leads to pretty dark, horrible things. And yeah, I mean, I know for myself that once I was able to, forgive myself both for turning away from who I knew I was in order to try and fit in, and for making the mistakes I made because of all the other choices and all the other things I tried to be, right? After I did that and recognized where my strengths were and how I wanted to live and the direction I wanted to go, and stopped caring what anyone else thought about those things, that's when all the magic really happened.
That's
Make
what I'm
magic,
talking about.
world. Make magic.
There you
That's what
go.
I would tell him. I would just say make magic for 90 minutes and like hope it sank in.
There you go. That's right. If you were addicted to drugs, you can make magic happen. If you dealt with some evil morons who did some evil things to you, you can still make some magic happen. That's right. You can publish multiple books and make magic happen. You can still have a family and make magic happen. That's right. That's
Yes.
right. And guess what? Kat did all those things and she's making the magic happen. So there you go.
That's right.
That's right. One day you're going to see Kat Hutson on stage with her wonderful presentation, Make Magic. That's right. She's going to have a wand and everything.
Yep. 90-minute chant.
Yeah, there you
Join
go.
me.
That's right, folks. You're all required to wear yoga pants and meditate.
Everyone.
Yeah, that's right. They made Spanx for men for a reason, folks. For Kat's keynote. That's why they made him.
I don't know if I want to be credited with that. Okay, I don't know. It wasn't for me. But everyone has to wear them. Just saying. Like, don't give me all the credit.
There's a MasterCard somewhere. You get the credit.
Thanks. I bet that MasterCard's in those yoke pants.
So speaking of credit cards and folks want to discover more about you, you're just going to Also, shout out the wonderful Jason LaChance and Jen Taylor. Going to put their episodes in the show notes too, because Kat has an awesome story of overcoming a dark past and turning that into some creative power indeed. So, going to put those in the show notes. You just want to shout out the Mighty J's as well, since Kat has a lot of wonderful stories to share, not only through her books, but through her other interviews as well. And then speaking of continuous discovery, if folks want to once again keep in contact with all that the wonderful Meow herself is doing, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you, Kat?
Yeah, best way to reach out to me is either email me, that's the author at kathrinhutsonfiction.com, or find me on Facebook at Kathrin Hutson Fiction. I can also be emailed through my website, kathrinhutsonfiction.com. There's Kathrin Hutson Fiction on Instagram, and I'm on Twitter at Exquisitely Dark.
That's right, folks. Exquisitely dark, baby. Exquisitely dark, baby. That's right. That's right. So that means there's chocolate on that site somewhere disguised as a book if you read it. That's right.
There could be. there could be.
That's right. You can bank on it.
Good one. That was the best one. That was crafty.
Yeah. Some say it's cheesy.
Well, there is craft cheese, so you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I think I'll stick with corny instead of cheesy.
With what?
Yeah, instead of being cheesy, I'll be corny.
Corny. There are many corn cobs. So you can take, if you want to be the corny one, go for it. You have earned that above and beyond the regular. I don't know how many corn cobs you earned regularly, but you've done well today.
Yeah. That's right. I just believe in spreading the wealth like butter on bread. So, in speaking of earning corn cobs, any closing thoughts that the listener earns from the Special K herself before we close up shop?
Oh my goodness. Any special bonus points for me? I feel like I've already shared them all. just keep moving and just keep challenging yourself and trying to step out of your comfort zone and live in that space every chance you can get. That includes finding balance. Finding balance isn't always necessarily in a comfort zone, which I have discovered. So, yeah, whatever it is that you're thinking about doing, that you're thinking about investing in time, money, emotions, energy, what have you, do it.
How's it going, my friend? I'm glad you made it to the end. That shows that you really enjoyed what you heard and you are an uncommon finisher. Thanks for giving this show a listen. If you really want to help out the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone that you care about or someone that needs to hear this message, because we want to spread this podcast around like butter on bread if that's your type of thing. And if it's not your type of thing, still spread it around anyway, because good stuff needs to be shared with good people like yourself.